Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2021 film A Banquet. It's a Shudder exclusive and it's coming to Shudder on Thursday, May 26th. So since this review is coming out earlier than that, and since it's just a new film, no spoiler review right here. Although I will say a little bit of like an overall thematic thing at the end of the video. So if you don't want that ruined, which it's not really ruining a whole lot, I won't tell you any of the events of the film. And my synopsis is going to be very bare bones too, because I don't like to give too much away, because if people really want to watch the films, I want you to be able to experience it with knowing as little as possible, especially the films where it really matters to not know. Anyway, this one's directed by Ruth Paxton, who wrote a bunch of episodes, or directed a bunch of episodes for the TV show River City. Not familiar with that one. If anyone else is, you can let me know in the comments. And is it good? Written by Justin Bull, who also wrote scripts for Merge and Little Rituals. I think Little Rituals either came out the same year or it's coming out soon. And then, like I said, Shudder exclusive coming Thursday, May 26th. Quick synopsis, it's basically about a family, and the setup to it is losing the father, the patriarch of the family, and kind of it's really about the ripple effects that kind of happen after that, but obviously in a horror way, since this is on Shudder. So there's a lot of subtext going on with the film. It's immediate that they have, the father passing away, so it's not really spoiling anything. It's literally within like the first few minutes of the film. And then, one of the individuals in the family starts to act kind of weird, and then there's a kind of a question of what's really going on with this person. And they really do keep you guessing for quite some time on what's actually going on with it in this film, which I think is good because it kind of keeps the audience hooked in. But I started to lose a lot of interest in this because I'm going to tell you up front, the pacing is really bad. It really should have been edited down, and it gets very repetitive, unfortunately. But I'll talk a little bit more. It's not all bad, though. I personally did not like this film, but like I always say, everyone should watch a film at least once just to figure out how you personally enjoy it, because I guarantee I'm going to get people commenting on this video saying, hey, I watched it and I really loved it. And I hope that for pretty much every film I see, unless it's like Glenn Danzig's Veronica, or The Scary of 61st, honestly. But I hope that for pretty much every film, because a lot of people put hard work into it. And especially with this film, there is some really good stuff about the film. So I know it's going to find its fan base. I hope that happens. I'm just not the person. So we'll see. But feel free to leave your comments. The opening scene is a bit disturbing / heartbreaking, and it makes you wonder if there's going to be a larger significance to it later on in the film. Obviously, it's the catalyst. Like, it drives everything after that. They don't really come back to it. It's just kind of the events of that just kind of loom over the entire film the whole time. So it's not something that you have to come back to later or they reference later in a certain way. But it's something you just obviously remember as an audience member. I think the scene is done in a very effective way, and it really does stick with you. Because like I said, it's kind of disturbing. It's definitely heartbreaking. So I think they did a good job setting that up and starting that way. So I'm a fan of that. There are some shots early on that seem suspiciously focused on certain things and behaviors that suggests that there's a very strong tie-in coming. And they do keep going back to that. You'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but you'll know what I'm talking about when they're showing those things, because it's not something that's common in film to like have shots framed like that on certain things and certain behaviors. It's very obvious that they're trying to call your attention to it, and you'll see what I mean. The use of foreboding music when nothing's really happening in the film is pretty heavy-handed. This is one of the things I really did not like. I mean, the music for the score is composed well. It is good music, and there are a few songs in particular that I really enjoyed, including the end credit song was very nice. So the composure is not a problem. It's just how often it gets used and how loud and how heavy, and it's being used in instances where there really isn't anything going on, and you're just kind of like, okay, why are we getting this strong foreboding music? Because then nothing really happens, and you're just like, I don't see what we're doing here. Now, I could see that being used in the way that it is if they were kind of trying to set you up to, not like lull you into a sense of comfort, and then kind of take you out of that comfort, like continually giving you that kind of foreboding music and nothing happens, and then eventually the foreboding music happens and something does happen to kind of catch you more off guard. It kind of like desensitizes you to the foreboding music at first, and then all of a sudden it has impact. But that doesn't really happen, so I just didn't get it. I didn't like that. The pacing is not good. They really needed more actually happening in this film instead of substituting stuff happening with the foreboding music. It does kind of feel to me at times where they were just trying to make you feel like something's coming or something's going on when nothing is going on by just playing the music, and you're just kind of like, okay, instead of just doing the music, why don't we have things happen? And there are plenty of films that, they don't have the greatest pacing, but they have these kind of little crumbs that are left throughout the film that keep you strung along, to keep your interest level. This one, not so much. For me personally, it was interesting in the beginning, and then it's kind of interesting at the end, and that was it, unfortunately. Not really leaving crumbs. It really did seem like this film was stretched for runtime, and the runtime with credits is like an hour and 37 minutes. So it's not like it was particularly long or it was particularly short. This film really probably should have only been an hour, maybe less than that, which is saying a lot. And it kind of goes to like my biggest issue with the film in general is the script is not great. There are some really good stuff, really good things, I swear, and I'm about to talk about it, other than the opening scene. But first, I will tell you that there are a bunch of scenes where conversations start to feel really repetitive. They kind of go through the same thing over and over and over again. And I get that with this subject matter, you kind of need a little bit of that. But I feel like they just go too far where they're having this certain characters are having the same conversations over and over again. The same type of stuff is happening over and over again. It just becomes very boring. You can have the same impact and get at the same thing and do it numerous times by doing it in a different way. Instead of just having the same conversations, doing the same stuff. It's just way too repetitive, and this goes back to what I was talking about. The script isn't great, in my opinion. Great idea with the script, I will say, but it just does not come together. Some odd choices are made for triggers to show character emotions or interactions. I'm going to give you a prime example. There's literally a part where a character starts crying over toilet paper. I understand the deeper meaning in that scene. I totally do. But it seems ridiculous. It's really odd. And you can get to the same thing and show the same emotion by eliciting it with something else. There are so many options out there. I don't understand why something like toilet paper was chosen, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who's going to watch that scene and be like, huh? What are we doing here? So I don't know, but personal. The directing is good. I really did enjoy the directing. I will say that I think Paxton has a definite future in directing film. Maybe try your hand at writing too. Maybe because I didn't like the script, maybe you can come up with something better, Paxton. But directing is really nice. There's some really nice, smooth camera work in this. With lower budget films, there tends to be a lot of issues with kind of handheld shaky camera work that's inappropriately shaky. No problem here. They know when to use a tripod. Thank you very much for that. And when it is handheld, it's not too shaky. They keep it pretty smooth. And there's some nicely framed shots as well. So directing, cinematography, it looks good. It looks very good. I'm happy with it. The lighting, too, is very well handled, especially considering that there are scenes where it's kind of dark. You can still see everything you need to see. Properly lit. Awesome. Good job on that one. The film did make me hungry. I will say that. I don't know if it was supposed to, but it kind of did make me hungry. And actually, I ate lunch right after I watched it. So there is that. Anyway, I have a feeling that other people will get hungry watching this film. And that is a testament to how they shot certain things and the way they look. Once again, going back to this film looks good. The acting is good as well. Actually, the acting is quite good. I didn't think there was anyone who was a weak link from an acting standpoint, so that's really nice. So here I am finally getting to the good stuff. It looks really good. Directing is really good. Cinematography is really good. Acting is really good. It's just, once again, going back to, if you don't have a good enough script, a lot of stuff's going to fall flat. Also, if you don't edit the film down to an appropriate length, that's another problem. There is a solid mystery maintained around what's really going on for a good chunk of the film, which does drive the interest. But like I said, you kind of needed more of those, moments of very interesting to kind of be the breadcrumbs to get people to the end, which doesn't really happen. The end of the film uses some silly-looking CGI, very unfortunately. I kind of think that they shouldn't have used CGI at all. Find a different way to handle it. I literally think, well, I'm not going to say that because it gives something away, but you literally could have done it in a different way that looks more natural. That would have looked way better, because it is silly-looking CGI. And maybe not everyone will agree with me, but I thought it looked really silly. In the end, this film is a slog for me, and it did not have nearly enough payoff. The pacing is so bad that I lost so much interest in it, but I stuck with it in order to take proper notes, give it its due, and do this review. So I tried. I'm not a fan. I think this film speaks to the parent-child dynamics in a lot of relationships, or specifically relationships where the setup to this film is what's going on. And it's kind of about how stressful things can be going both ways between parent and child, and just the family unit in general. Expectations kind of play a big part into it as well. I kind of picked up on that. And in the end, the last statement is family decay is probably the best way to put things with this film. Family decay. And you'll see what I mean when you watch it. Once again, interesting concept, good concept. It just did not come together for me personally. Now, that said, obviously, I want to hear differing opinions on this one. What did you think about this film? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Give me like a sentence or two about what you really liked about it, or what you didn't, or what made you feel about it. And, we can talk. And you can go ahead and do spoilers in the comments. That's totally fine. Go ahead and do that. Do me a quick favor, though. Hit subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel yet. If you have, you are the best. I really do appreciate that. It literally does help keep me motivated to do this, because I'm not getting paid to do this at this point. Maybe one day, but probably not anytime soon at this point, if it ever happens. So your support means a lot. And literally by subscribing, you are showing me that you appreciate what I'm doing, and I love it. Also hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know how many I'm putting up 4 videos a week. You'll know when those videos go up. Sorry about that. But regardless, I really thank you for watching this particular video. And until next time, keep it brutal.